Hello, I'm Felicity Cohen. I'm so excited to introduce you to my Wellness Warriors podcast. For over 20 years, I've been a passionate advocate for helping thousands of Australians find solutions to treating obesity and health-related complications through surgical intervention and holistic managed care. My podcast is dedicated to all the people, past, present and future, who have helped shape my journey and continue to inspire me to work consistently to achieve a healthier Australia in both adults and future generations. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, my name's Felicity. I'm the CEO of WeightLoss Solutions Australia. Welcome to my Wellness Warriors podcast. Over the course of this podcast, my goal is to interview many of the patients who've touched my life over the last 20 years. Some of them have had surgery many years ago and have impacted many generations already, so multi-generational impact on their families. Others have had surgery more recently. I'm also interviewing doctors, health professionals, and all sorts of other people who have had some kind of connection or impact on a wellness story or journey. Today, I would love to introduce you to Richard Smedley. Richard, his story is so powerful and has really meant so much to me. When I first met Richard, it was as a computer technician working in the area of managing and looking after people's computers in their homes and all over the place. And I was really struck by his size and his 13-year-old boy at the time. This is actually long before he even engaged to have weight loss surgery. And he just did not look like a happy person. He was referred to WeightLoss Solutions Australia by a colleague and a friend who's also a plastic surgeon, and he really was also aware of Richard's struggle. A single dad with 2 children, he lost his wife at a young age, and honestly just the most beautiful, genuine character you could ever meet, but struggled so much with his excess weight. During the course of getting to know Richard, I learned about his family history, his family story, what he'd been through with his beautiful wife and mother of his children, his sisters, and their struggles as well, and how that had impacted his life. So I'm so incredibly proud of Richard's achievements. Not only did he lose an incredible amount of weight, and we're talking around 100 kilos of excess weight that Richard lost throughout his weight loss journey, but he also then went on to have body contour surgery and complete the entire cycle of that weight loss story. And seeing what he's achieved now honestly melts my heart. He's in his early 60s and couldn't be fitter, healthier, or a better person than you can possibly imagine. He is leading the active, healthy lifestyle that we would all dream of. He's going to salsa classes. I actually love this. I think it's just so beautiful to see people take on new hobbies and pastimes in their later years because they can. So being so fit, healthy, taking part in the Gold Coast Marathon alongside our Weight Loss Warriors over the last few years, and being such an integrated part of our weight loss community has just meant so much to me. Richard has never missed an event at Weight Loss Solutions Australia since day one. So his engagement and commitment to himself, his family, his results, and the entire community are really exceptional. I think you're going to find his story just so powerful, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Richard Smedley today.
My name's Richard. I'm 61. I'm the owner and now partner with my son of Bariatric Computer Services, which is a small computer service business. We're located at Parkwood on the Gold Coast. Been in business for roughly 21 years now. When I was a kid, I was diagnosed with having celiac disease, which meant that I was supposed to be skinny and things like that. But just as a natural thing, when I hit my teens, I just started to gain weight. Not totally through bad food choices, but because at home, under the control of the parents and food, not too bad even, but just started to gain weight. As I got older and first started work, I had my own car, my own money, so then I was able to buy as much food as I wanted. So the weight then started to get out of control exponentially as a young teenager. Speaking in stone size, I think at about 18 or 19, I was in the old-fashioned speak 20 stone, which was quite a lot. I used to work at a place and we had dust coats. I think I was a size 9 1/4 dust coat. So that's rather large. and tried many things over the time with gyms and losing weight, and did it quite successfully. But then something happens and you get back on the sliding scale again of usually an injury or something that happens that puts you out of whack for a while, and you get back into the wrong food choices again and not exercising, and the weight starts to get on again and again, and it just gets out of control again, until you decide a few years later to then go back into doing something about it, and then you gain. I turned into the typical gym junkie, you know. At one point there, I was going to the gym 6 o'clock in the morning and I was going at 5 o'clock in the night. And yeah, your endorphins are going and you're seeing the weight loss come off again, off again, off again. And then something else changed in life. I think at that stage, the next change was a bad car accident with a neck and back injuries. So you can't do too much exercise for a couple of years. So again, emotion, comfort comes into it again. You start eating the wrong foods and the weight gets out of control again. And then again, it goes on. When I moved from New South Wales to Queensland, I was quite healthy, quite fit. And you get into the old relationship thing, the comfort of a relationship, and the weight starts to get out of control. And you know, family issues, unwell wife, stresses of all those sorts of things, and the weight starts to get out of control again and again and again. And it just grew exponentially. And you're in denial. Your mind is in denial that you've gained so much weight. And people say to you, you need to do something about your weight or your fat, and you go, that's none of your business. You know, don't call me fat. You don't know what's going on in my life. You don't realise those crutches you draw on from the food and what the emotions and the stress is doing to you, why you're eating so badly. I believe it's the internal voice that's in your mind that's telling you it's okay to keep eating the wrong foods. You need those foods. It's easy to buy those foods. You just keep buying them and keep eating them without realising in your mind that you're getting so out of control with your weight. I was in denial about the weight gain because when I look in the mirror, I didn't see that I was so large. I didn't believe I was so large. Yes, I had to go to the clothing shops that specialise in extra large size clothing, or buy them on the internet, the specialist companies that specialise in supplying clothing for large people. It's that denial thing of not realising that you are that big, because I didn't think I was that big, even though I knew what size clothing I was buying and the amount of food I was eating. It was a denial thing. When people would mention to me about the weight gain, it was mostly slightly outsiders, not immediate family, who didn't, because immediate family doesn't want to hurt your feelings. They don't say something. It was more other people that would see you and say, you've gained weight, you're fatter. Why aren't you doing something about your diet? What are you eating? They would criticise you for gaining weight without truly understanding what was going on in your mind. My daughter was the only one that really said anything about weight gain and weight being out of control. And because you're in that denial about you're that big or you're that fat, you actually get angry at that person, you get aggressive with that person, and you tell them to back off and mind their business. It's not that bad. When I want to do something about it, I will do something about it. With family life, it was hard to see where the problems were, because when you get into that relationship and the comfort, my wife was also gaining weight through poor food choices, and we both gained significant weight. My kids did, because we were all into that unhealthy lifestyle and could quite easily fall into, well, yes, we'll cook junk food, we'll buy junk food. It was convenient to just go and grab takeaway, and you would always order more than what you truly needed, but you would consume it because your mind said you could eat it. So we did. And we all gained weight and got out of control. And I was probably worse than everyone else in the family, because the emotional things that happened later on in the family, with the wife becoming ill, and I had a mobility problem because I'd had a severe leg injury, and then my wife became ill, and the emotional side of it just gets out of control. That again, the easiest thing is just to eat the wrong foods and to keep eating them because of that comfort and that psychological effect with eating that way. My sister, who's really unwell at the moment, she was larger as an ordinary child. So her weight probably grew worse when she got into a stable relationship as well, the comfort side of things. With her weight issues and weight problems, as it's gone on, because it was unchecked and she did nothing about it, the first thing that came onto her was diabetes. Now, she wasn't managing that very well, so she had a gastric band. And because of psychological issues as far as understanding and the mind controlling it, she didn't. She still ate as much as before, even with a gastric band. Now, as that progressed worse with her life, she had obviously mobility problems, joint problems from being severely obese. She then led on to having heart complications from it. And unfortunately, in recent times, which has now led to these final things, the medical professions have said that she's beyond help, because as her body, she has the diabetes, she has the heart problem, she's got circulation problems, joint problems, back problems. The kidneys are failing very badly, and due to the heart problems and the kidney problems, she's not suitable for surgery because they have said that she will not survive the surgery. She would pass away during surgery due to the severity of her heart problems, and she's also not a suitable candidate for dialysis to try and resolve the kidney problems due to the heart problems, because they're saying even under dialysis her heart wouldn't cope with the stresses of dialysis. It's unfortunately down to going back home now to palliative care with given only a couple of weeks to live, because the failure of the kidneys will unfortunately be the final draw where toxic levels in her system, fluid build-up, will cause her heart to fail. As she said to me on Friday when I visited her, the doctors have told her she'll go to sleep one day, the heart will stop and she just won't wake up. Unfortunately, with her denial over the years and having been what I've been through, I've offered her all the help and support with trying to, even to the point of knowing the bit that I do. I'm not a dietary professional, but she wouldn't seek the help from dietitians. She wouldn't listen to dietitians. I offered to say to her, hey, look, you send me a list of the foods you'd like to eat that's, as far as a healthy combination for you. Knowing what I know, knowing now what I need to know, I said, I'll work you out a diet plan where you can eat 6 or 7 times a day. You will lose weight because it'll be good, healthy food in small doses 6 or 7 times a way. The elder sister, and unfortunately she does have a weight issue as well, but not as bad as the middle sister. She is into natural therapies, natural therapists, Bowen therapy and all those sorts of things. And she actually had one of her good friends who lived near my sister offer to help her from the natural therapy side of thing, to try and assist with that, to help get back into the weight control things. Provided her with the phone number, all she had to do was make that phone call. That didn't happen as well. Now, all these things happened a couple of years ago when there was the possibility of reversing some of the effects before they got too bad. But that denial factor of her, she didn't do it. And hence why it's led to now this final outcome. She didn't understand when she said, doesn't understand from the medical perspective why they can't do something for them. Why won't the doctors take that chance of doing surgery? Because they know she won't survive the surgery. They know her heart will fail during surgery. They know that for a fact. And so that denial was still there that she could survive this and turn around. But she is finding it extremely hard to come to grips with this final thing. Because she was transferred from her local hospital down to Brisbane, and because being on the Gold Coast and close to Brisbane, I've been up there several times already to visit her in hospital and things like that. The last time was was on Friday. I was there for about 4 or 5 hours on Friday, and she's just now been transferred back to Hervey Bay, where she'll go into palliative care. She'll be at the hospital for a few days whilst they assess her home facilitability, get nursing procedures in place, get a special bed in place for her, get all those things in place, and she'll go home for palliative care until unfortunately the final thing happens. Her husband unfortunately is in more denial than my sister. He's even coping worse than she is with accepting of the final outcome of what she's been given. It was only later, when she'd seen the success that I had, that she realised that then that was potentially an option, but it was too late by then. I mean, she had the diabetes way back then, she had the mobility issues way back then, and then obviously then led to the complication with the heart issues. So unfortunately, her mind wasn't there in the early days of being accepting that that was the way to go, and by the time she did, unfortunately, it was too late. These problems have been 100% caused by obesity. We know that now when you look at the science, and I know that when I've looked into what my own journey has been through my weight gain and weight loss, that I would be in a similar boat now, given the fact I'm only a year and a half younger than her. If I didn't do something about it when I did, it's totally changed my life around mobility, health, one or two minor tweaks with health issues, but it's nothing that's not treatable and fully 100% under control, because I now know what I have to do to sustain the life that I do. And I'm extremely active now because I've lost that weight. And if I didn't do something about it, because again, I think they classify it as obesity level 3, because just over 3 years ago I was 200 kilo. I'm now sitting at roughly just under 95, quite happy about it, but I'm extremely active. And when I go to doctors and they go, you can't be 95 kilo, you don't look like you're 95 kilo. And I go, well, I am. Put me on the scales, I'm 95 kilo. With smoking and weight, they are a similar thing, because smoking is addictive. It becomes a mental thing as well. That's why people can't give up, because the nicotine and the other drugs in there control their brain. And that's the same thing with food. You have that addiction to food due to comfort eating, stress eating, emotional, whatever crutch you need to keep eating, and they both need addressing the same way by the medical profession. The way they're dealing with smoking as part of an addictive disease, they're not dealing the same thing with weight and food for people that are suffering from being obese or weight gain, and not dealing with it the same way. I remember seeing, not that long ago, a lot of press and Facebook things is going, when the issue was raised over government support being provided to assist in weight loss solutions, a hell of a lot of people posted, these people are fat, these people are overweight. Why should we spend our taxpayers' money on another issue? And yes, they're quite happy to, if someone's cancer may not be related to smoking, they're quite happy to want funds to go to that. They're quite happy to for funds to go to heart disease problems if it wasn't caused by something else. If it was caused by obesity or smoking, they don't want that money to go to that. Yet as you and I know, smoking leads to cancers, obesity leads to so many other medical issues that the government is not putting the funding towards. The government solution with smoking is, let's raise taxes till we make cigarettes so expensive we might freeze people out. That's not working. They're still buying their smokes, they're still getting their diseases, whether it's heart disease, lung disease, cancer, all from smoking. They haven't solved the problem. They're trying to regulate, and people then see it as Big Brother. Why should the government tell me what I can do or how I can eat? But that's not providing the solution of how to deal with it. Unfortunately, they're politicians. They're being led by budgets, not being led by, let's look at the public, let's re-educate the public to understand that obesity is not just from overeating. There is an underlying genetics, emotional, mental things behind it that can lead to that obesity problem that needs that solution. We need to re-educate everyone, not just the governments, but the general public on how to understand and deal with weight loss problems. Sorry, weight problems, not weight loss problems. Bariatric surgeries has changed a lot over the years. When my sister, she had the lap band surgery, and unfortunately, because it was just, wham, bang, thank you ma'am, in a public hospital system, we'll take your money, we'll put the band on, pat you on the bum and send you home. There's no backup, no support, and if you're not in that right mindset, you don't go chasing it. And then over the years, and I thought it was the same thing, I only thought it was the lap band that was available. And then I actually had a computer customer who was a surgeon in the bariatric industry, and he described to me about the sleeving. And even back then, they've even modified that since then, because back then the very first sleeves they were doing, they were only removing 75% of your original stomach, because that was all they thought they needed to do. And again, the technology available for them to trim the stomach, staple the stomach, glue it all up with great success has gone from leaps and bounds, and even to the point, and that was back about 11 years ago when I was involved with this customer who approached me about getting it done. So I'd been to that point where I was there, but I wasn't in a situation with the business to take that option up at the time to get that weight loss surgery done with the gastric sleeve. And then when I finally did it a few years later, again, I found that there were so many options and how so much has changed. And the support mechanisms that are in place these days, for as you're getting older and you realise that it's gone beyond the simple lap band with no surgery, no support, to all the options now with full support from the surgeons, the dietitians, the nurses, the psychologists. It's all there out there for helping us that have got that mind problem of denial, emotional eating, comfort eating, stress eating. When you understand that that's the reasons that cause it, or whatever it is, the support is now out there for you to help and assist you with the options of weight loss surgery. I think there's about 4 different types now. There's the the gastric sleeve, there's bypass, there's balloon, there's a whole lot of other options that are out there that nowadays it's gone leaps and bounds since I first became aware of it. Even when I had my surgery 3¼ years ago, I think there's about another 4 options available since I had my sleeve done. So they're going from leaps and bounds with it to provide, depending on what your weight loss needs are, whether it's heavily like me of level 3 to simple ones that only want to lose 20 odd kilo and have a temporary solution. All those options are now available to people that weren't there, and it doesn't matter whether you're a 20-year-old or a 60-year-old, they can cater for your needs and a whole support mechanism in place to continue on and join this journey that some of us are in now and living a total different life. It's not just a simple thing of having a procedure done and you think it's all over. You need the support mechanisms in place to assist you mentally, because as I say, a lot of people in denial. Also, a lot of people also see that as they're losing weight, they're not actually losing weight. They think they're still fat and obese and they haven't seen those changes. So you need that solution. So the weight loss procedure is a tool to assist you in getting down that track, because you then have to do the things of, once you start to lose that weight, you start to feel it better, you realise that you have better mobility, you can exercise more, you talk to the dietitians to find out what your individual dietary needs are, you can talk to someone about how to change your shopping habits, how to change your eating habits, because it's a total modification. You start out being on just fluids for a couple of weeks, and depending on what procedure you've had, then you go on to, as I describe it, almost baby food. Then you go on to not quite solids, but pulped up food before you can go on to the solid phase, because whatever procedure has, your stomach has to be retrained and your mind has to be retrained as to what you can do, because you can only eat such small amounts, and your protein levels are different, your fluid levels are different. You've got that mindset to get around that. You need the support of psychologists, the dietitians. If you have any issues as far as with the procedures, you talk to the nurses. All this support mechanism you need to help you deal with that new tool you've got to change your life, your lifestyle modifications. But as you lose that weight and you then start adjusting and knowing what your body's an individual body. What you do is not necessarily what I'm going to do with, but we're all out there to help. So you then have to adjust it for what you need. And as you start to lose that weight, the mobility becomes better. You can exercise more, and the weight loss just happens. It's part of that procedure, but you need those things where it's also critical to talk to the nursing staff, the medical staff, to get your blood levels checked in the first stage of 3 months, because your intake is so different. Your absorption through your body is different, so you need to know whether you need what multivitamin supplements you need. Do you need other things? So that's all that approach of the medical things that weren't there all those years ago that are now in place. You get your bloods, I think, at 3 months, and then after that every 6 months, so they can keep an eye on your levels. Your iron levels drop because your intake is so much different. Your absorption is different. So you need all these support procedures in place to know where you're at and what your body's doing. So it's not just a case of, oh, I've had that procedure done, I'm fine now, I'll be right for the rest of my life, I'm just going to lose weight. No, it's an assistive tool, and you need those support mechanisms in place. With my approach and the weight loss surgery, when I finally needed something to do about it, I was told about WeightLoss Solutions Australia, which I made that approach to them, to the manager at the time, because a personal friend of mine said contact this person. So I got the feedback, appointments were made, and I found that there's a solution there. And after that first initial approach, I also found that they hold seminars every couple of months, that anyone that has a weight loss issue, doesn't matter whether it's a little bit overweight or morbidly obese, that you can go there and listen to these seminars. You'll hear from people like myself and other people that have been through the weight loss journey, that they have those things, and you can go there and hear that information, get that feedback, get that information, and then if you want, go on from there to make that appointment. On your first appointment there, you talk to the nursing staff, the psychologist, the dietitian, the surgeon. You meet all these people in the beginning who can work out what customised type procedure or solution you need for your individual circumstances, and then they explain everything to you. It's not just a walking in, walking out, of everything that on goes from there, and how the procedures stay in place for life. They don't just drop you and say you've been here. If you have problems down the track, a phone call. They've got the nurse in place. They may not be able to return your call straight away, but you will hear back from the nurse, you will hear back from the psychologist, you will hear back from the dietitian. And even if things are that urgent that you need done, you hear back from Felicity, the Director and CEO of WeightLoss Solutions Australia. I've had those phone calls, I've had those communications. So I've got nothing but praise that if you want that solution to your weight loss journey, please approach WeightLoss Solutions Australia or WLSA and go to their website, click in, look at the stories of us that are on this journey now. I'm going to be on this journey for as long as my life goes. And WeightLoss Solutions, they provide activity days for us. They provide cooking days for us. The biggest ones are around about Christmas time, where they put on a function where they have high-level chefs there providing meal solutions of how the families can deal with meals for you as to prepare, or for another partner prepare for people that have had weight loss surgery that can't cope with the good old traditional big Aussie bang up Christmas dinner of volumes of food that you can't eat, you can't solve, you can't deal with. And it's fantastic. They hold these every year. Last February was a stand-up paddleboarding, and you know, people that were just weeks into their journey, as to me that's been 3 years into the journey. The first time I tried stand-up paddleboarding, up for 5 minutes, into the water for 5 minutes, up for 5 minutes, into the water. Last time I was up for 30 minutes and didn't fall in once. So as that journey's gone on, things are better in life. So yeah, it's important to approach them and make that call, go to one of their seminars, click on their website link and follow up with them, and please, they are there to help and support you through your entire weight loss journey. We have a Facebook website in place for all of us that are through WeightLoss Solutions. We pose questions to the group. We even share sometimes nitty-gritty photos of our procedures in place. One stage there, people were doing this face-off Fridays where you'd put a photo of your worst and where you are now. I was never going to post a full body image because it's too scary. I've posted some of my post-surgery photos of skin reduction surgery or that, so people understand what's out there. So that the website is fantastic because we bounce information back at each other. People put food things up there and great ideas come from it, even to the point of protein balls and stuff like that, everyone's things, and I've made different things from people's recipes on the website and things like that, so it's all there. And the best thing is if us as individuals can't help with answers or we think it needs further, we say, hey, don't just post here, send that email, make that phone call to the office, because we don't want to offer you advice where we think it needs to be professional medical advice. Seek them. But usually the administrators through WeightLoss Solution, Felicity will jump in and make a comment saying, hey, can the nursing staff please respond to this call? Can the dietitians please respond to this and make an appointment? When I first there, after my first 6 weeks, it was an in-house meeting with the dietitian to understand, re-educate your mind, your food choices and where you need to go. Nowadays, it's that big that they even have a full-on workshop where they even take the people at that stage out to the local shopping centre to help assist with understand the new food choices and what they need to do with their eating needs and things like that. So that's grown in that support group, and I think it's fantastic. In the last 3 years, it started. WeightLoss Solutions Australia got involved with the Gold Coast Airport Marathon. It's one of the biggest events in Australia as far as that goes. So they put together a team, put it out there to us that wanted to go into it. And I think the very first year it might have been roughly about 45 between staff and us patients that have been through that journey that participated in it. And again, they were brilliant with that because for 12 weeks prior to the event, they organised professional physiotherapists and professional runners and trainers to come in and help an assistant. Didn't matter whether you were going to be a runner for that, the Gold Coast Airport Marathon, a half marathon, 10K or the 5K fun run / walk. They provided solutions by these trainers to assist with walking techniques, things that I still put in place today. So I've been doing it as part of since it was there. This last year, I think they had 65 as their numbers in it, so it's grown there, so the support mechanism is in place. They organise our registrations, they organise a t-shirt for us, we organise a meeting place on the day, and it's become a really good social function as well as a goal to work towards to proceed and do it each year. We just did it yesterday again, or it started again on the Gold Coast Airport Marathon again on the weekend. I believe the team was up around 100 this time between the various events. It's grown fantastic, and the same thing each year. They've had professional physiotherapists and trainers assist. This year we had gym workouts as well, where they tried to torture us with boot camp type events and things like that. And again, push and those things for strength building as well as running techniques to assist on the day. So again, it was fantastic to be involved with those, and the event yesterday was really great. Unfortunately, I didn't better my time again due to injuries, but I finished the event and not even puffing and things like that, just grabbed a few orange things to get the energy levels back up again. So with this and with WeightLoss Solutions Australia, the way they help with us, and again, I'd say next year it's going to be even bigger. And so much so that a few of us organised a social event where we went out last night, and it ended up being 20 of us from that group from Saturday that went out and had a small meal, because we can only eat small meals, and because we can't drink that much anymore, only had a couple of drinks. But it was a really great social evening for us all to get together, because I met people last night that I hadn't met before, that just say a cursory g'day to on the day, or they're doing different events to me, that we met and were able to chat and get along with, because we all had the same journey, and we'd all throw things around at the table as to where we were at and things like that. And there were even a couple of people there who were friends of people that had been down the weight loss journey and had no idea what we went through. And there was even one lady who works for a superannuation fund that deals with people's applications for weight loss surgery to have those funds released, and had no idea of what the journey was like for these people and what was involved with it. And she learned so much from chatting with us last night as to what goes on. So now in her job and her role, she now has a better understanding of, it's not just a people of, oh yeah, they just want money released to have a surgical solution. It's, wow, this is what they're actually going to be going through, and this is what's going to be helping them to maintain a life. And I did share some pictures last night of me at my worst, and it was the same old thing of, that can't be the same person. I go, yeah, it's me. That was me 3.5 years ago, and you've seen what I am today. My life now is so totally different, having lost the weight. The biggest thing, it's far easier to travel. You keep hearing these things, and if you're overweight, you keep hearing these things of, oh, I feel embarrassed, I've got to ask for a seatbelt extender. The worst thing is how easy is it going to be to get in and out of those aeroplane toilets? That's a very big factor you have to think of when you are so obese. Yeah, will I get into that toilet? Will I be able to just do those things in there if necessary, you know, especially on a long haul flight? You've got to think of those things when you're so overweight. And when you're so overweight, you overflow that seat. That armrest is not available to anyone, because you take over the armrest as well. So that poor person in the seat beside you, unless it's a family member, they're of, you know, hey, I've paid for a seat here, mate. I want my seat, I want my armrest, not have you overhang into my seat as well. So when you lose that weight and you first, that thing is, I don't need a seatbelt extender anymore, I can travel. One of the things I did on a trip was have a helicopter flight. I would never have considered that when you're so obese, because again, they won't take you in a helicopter. They don't have seatbelt extenders in a helicopter. It's a safety thing. If you can't fit into their normal harness seatbelts on a helicopter, you can't go on one. So again, that was a major thing. Since then I've been on helicopters. I've travelled to several places. I've been to Fiji this year. I've travelled to, I did a cruise from Sydney to Singapore, and then spent several nights in Singapore before flying back home. And there's been so much more things. I go to the gym several times a week. I now do yoga a couple of times a week. And having done the cruise, something I was always interested in was Latin dancing. And days at sea on the cruise ship, they did ballroom dancing, and several classes was Latin dancing. And I enjoyed it. So when I got back off the cruise, I looked up and found a local salsa dancing group that's only 10-minute drive away, so I've since joined them. So now I'm a Salsa level 1. I'm probably only a week away now from progressing to what they call Salsa improvers, or Salsa level 2. And it's a lot of fun, because again, one of the things with that is it's called muscle training. So muscle training, muscle memory. So it becomes an automatic thing in the movement, so you don't look at your feet anymore. You're not always counting steps out loud. It's being done in your mind because you know what you're going to do. And the hardest things for us guys to learn to do is leading a girl with we've got to, with hand movements, tell the girl what to do when they're dancing. So with the people who have been in it in the Salsa level 2 and 3, you can't just dance with them. And because when you're at the beginner stage, the girls have been taught, they know that they have to do this and they have to do that. But as guys, we've got to learn to use subtle hand movements. It's not feet gestures, it's hand movements of then guiding them through of what the next stage through of salsa dancing. So I'm loving that. I try and do that at least 3 nights a week. And there's another one, it's called bachata. It's a Cuban-based one. It's different to salsa again. So just to complicate the factor a bit more, I'm also doing bachata as well as salsa. I'm not trying to push bachata as much as more, but it's I really want to proceed and learn with the Salsa so that I can get out there and go to the social dance nights, which are held at a few places on the coast here. And I wouldn't have believed Salsa is as big as it is, because my first class, they were open, was on an Anzac Day, Monday night public holiday, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe 10, maybe 20 people might turn up for a public holiday Salsa dancing, various classes. There were at least 60 people there. And I was blown away as to how big it really is and how big that community is on the Gold Coast. I'm also active in target pistol shooting as well. So getting my skill levels up there is something, again, I would never have thought of doing whilst I was overweight, but it's one of those things because it's a lot of fun, and it can be very active. You're not just standing blank on a thing and pulling a trigger. There is an activity side as well. You do have to be physically active to do it. Some things are limited to due to injuries. I can't do them. I'm now also planning my next cruise for later on next year. So those plans are starting in place with a few of us. And again, it's people I met on the last cruise. And some of the people I went with were talking about doing the cruise from Hawaii back to Sydney. So that'll be a big deal later on next year. So we're planning that. Again, jet skiing as well. After having experienced jet skiing and having an older jet ski, I upgraded to a newer model. So even in winter time, I'm getting out on the water and enjoying jet skiing. I had to miss that last weekend because of Gold Coast Airport Marathon, but yeah, if it's a good sunny Sunday, if the weather's good, it's sunny, I get out there early and go jet skiing on the Broadwater and have a lot of fun doing that as well. If you're having any issues with weight and have that, considering doing it or not considering doing it, you're undecisive in there, or that mind is saying that it'll be right, no, please, go and seek solutions. Search it on the web, because there's a lot of solutions out there. Look at the solutions, talk to the professionals, do something about it as soon as you can, because you need to take control of your life back. You need to get that weight under control. There are weight loss solutions out there that will help you. Please seek that help as soon as you can. Yes, you can now fit into a toilet on an aeroplane without much worries. Yes, you can sit in an airline seat without having to overcrowd the person beside you. Yes, you can sit in that same seat without having to ask for a seatbelt extender. Yes, you can now get into a helicopter flight. Yes, you can go on amusement park rides and know that they can sit the bar on you without having to say, sorry sir, you can't go on this ride. Yes, you can jet ski without worrying about, will the jet ski sink because I'm too heavy for that jet ski. Yes, you can now get into your car seat without having to adjust the steering wheel or needing a seatbelt extender on your car seat. Yes, you can fit into a cinema seat more comfortably without having to go to gold class because the seats are too narrow and they're too tight for you to fit into. Yes, you can use the stairs and go up and down on the cruise ship without having to worry about stopping every few steps and taking a breath. Yes, you can go to the restaurants and not look silly or a pig when grabbing so much food. Yes, you can hop into the pool on the boat without worrying about emptying half the pool out into the ocean.
Richard, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast and sharing your incredible story, which I know so many people are going to be incredibly empowered by listening to you and hearing your journey. It's definitely a story that has touched my heart, and I hope it has touched many, many other people listening to your story today. Thank you for joining the Wellness Warriors podcast. It's been a pleasure to have you online with us. If you enjoyed the series, please leave your review, subscribe and follow, and we look forward to sharing many more stories with you in the future.